Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel for an everyday encounter in a typical life of an ASB. As you're fully aware, these are based on the chapter series of AS in Education, the during, before and after series of when I was clinically diagnosed with AS, and just a little bit hopefully of the life story, more about me on how I go about my life with the education side, pretty much to the present right now, as we know that I'm at a tech that I'm still trying to fit in and hopefully blend in, but then that's more on the piece hopefully in part 4. Part 3 right now, however, or shall we say, well, this is part 4, is basically based on the high school college years that leads up to my Polytech studies basically, and maybe the last one will have to be my life story about the Polytech sort of thing. But bear with me, guys, as I said, there'll be a few repetitions here and there about how I felt and whatnot, because the feelings and emotions that I feel right now still hasn't changed to this day, despite that I'm trying to right now, as I see, with these negativities that's been forwarded onto me, that I'm recycling them into the positives and putting them in a right perspective, hopefully, and on this day and age. As I said before, when the parents did decide, however, to change school, like change different settings again, you know, transitioning to a smaller town again, basically, like, I felt that in my high school years that I was doing pretty well regardless, even though, okay, Palmerston North where I was, and now they're living and living, basically, I was in high school and living for those last of my 4 years of my journey as a preteen to adult, so to speak, getting ready to the big world of hopefully exploring more of what the world has to offer, as well as life has to offer towards me, pretty much. Some of the things that I've learned, though, has benefited me to this day. Some of them hasn't, because it's still a learning curve, like everything else in our journey. Everything's a learning curve. Many people may, you know, think that, you know, what are you on about, Karen? You know, life shouldn't be all about learning and stuff, but I don't know. Some people's mentality, to me, that puts me off, hence why, like, many of my time when I've been growing up, you know, getting into this stage of education, stage of learning and stuff, that's what puts me off with certain people when I don't socialise to this day. That some people's mentality just puts me off to the point that why is it worth, you know, trying to have them in my, either A, in my social circle, or B, trying to encourage them regardless that regardless of not wanting to ask for help, even though, okay, as I said before in one of my video blogs, that basically when I transit to different characters with the thinking, these hats that I wear when I'm in that shape-shifting mode, basically, be it a counsellor, be it a listening ear, be it a word of encouragement, advice, or whatever, mentor, whatever you want to label me as, with these hats that I've been told by the counsellor so many times before that it looks like I've wear too many hats all on board, because I'm always looking out for others and make sure that I need to look out for me before I burn out and actually know that who's the real deal. Because what I've learned now is when I burn out or just lose a lot of friends along the way, when the hard times come, this will be a test of time to see who your real friends are when you hit rock bottom, or not quite rock bottom, so to speak, if that makes sense to you all. At that stage of pretty much the parents wanted to try and move to a different area, transitioning to a smaller town, because I think they were trying to get rid of the busy city lifestyle and us, pretty much, even though, to be honest with you, I feel like I'm more of a city girl than a country girl now, you know, even though I still love nature and like animals and all these other things that comes about with my, you know, passions and stuff and desires and whatnot, which I'm hoping that maybe later on will come still to life somehow. But whatever the real reasons were, pretty much the intentions were for the good, not for the bad, pretty much. And they wanted me to succeed in life like any other child, you know, succeed in life and try not to make the same mistakes that they may have made in their past life, and no matter what, that's, you know, hopefully that's, we can just keep on going and do what we have to do, so to speak. This is, again, as I've learned, it's based on our everyday choices that we come about and face, you know, that how we go about it is up to us based on the opportunities that is given to us. You know, some of the lifetime opportunities in my past, I regret of trying not to actually dwell on them so much, but even though I'm hoping that sometime soon it might come to me, even though, like, back in the high school days, basically, I had a few opportunities here and there, even though I felt like I was lied to. No offense if you're watching, of my old teachers at Pehu, pretty much that I felt that I was being lied to or lied at, because, like, my heart and desire, as I said, is health science. I wanted to basically excel so badly in that area, and I wanted to, like, at that time there was an opportunity that I thought that arose for me, that is that decision of basically wanting to go down to Otago of that hands-on science program that they had, you know, designed for us students at that time, as well as some of those workbridge kind of what you call them, work experiences that you do in different workplaces. But I did that anyway. But the point I'm saying is, I fell down and out when I found out that, you know, someone else that had the ducks and wolves in it. I'm not trying to say this out of jealousy or spite, but this is just how I felt at that time. That I felt that despite that I felt that maybe it was due to my condition, or it's due to the reputation that I wanted to keep pure. I don't know what it was at that time, but I'm seeing it more and more what it was, you know, but I don't want to discuss it too, you know, and close it too much how I felt about it. But what I'm saying is that despite it all, that, you know, I felt I could have probably excelled on that as well, or just had fun along the way. Despite that, my parents did their very hardest to support my sister and I at that time for our education to progress further to where we want to be. Even though they're still supportive to this day, even though at the moment I'm just trying not to sit in my corner and weep about it or throw a hissy fit, you know, why not me, and all this questions that kept floating in me when I was in that intermediate high school level when that opportunity arose. So therefore I just felt, just go with it. And even though my parents did everything they did in their willpower of the Justice of the Peace and everything else to organise me to get down there, all I was waiting for was just the Justice of the Peace signature to confirm that it's okay for the funding and stuff and go down. Part of me felt maybe, despite that, if I didn't want to represent Pehu, basically when that was happening, I should have just went down anyway, maybe, and just to have fun, you know, not as in wagging off school like many students do in that age group, you know, but it's just an extracurricular to add to my CV, you know, showing that I did something and I liked it, pretty much, you know. Sometimes also it's all about having the right attitude, right mentality of thinking, regardless what age we are in our lives, you know. When we're done and out, so I feel that sometimes we need to try and find a way that we can be positive, find a way that we are at peace and happy within ourselves, be it whatever it may be, you know. Sometimes I find that it's really hard for me sometimes just to do what I love, you know, as the saying goes, do what you love what you do. It's just a quote that I follow by. I have realised now, despite all the choices I've made, good and bad, it has benefited me, as I said before, and also that after my high school years, I thought while transitioning to Polytech that I thought, you know, I wanted to experience more in life of what life has to offer. Even though I felt like I was growing too fast and mature too fast in a way that I felt like I was more of an adult than a, you know, child or a teen, that felt like my life has been taken away from me in some retrospect in certain areas and stages of my life. But then again, you know, I thought, you know, with all these experiences, they do actually make us mature and have a real big think. You know, at that time, however, all the choices I made, be it flatting, be it wanting to gain my independence, self-confidence, and the work that basically I thought that this would make me a better person. It has to this day, because even though I try not to solely, you know, keep running back to my mummy and daddy like most kids would, asking for money and that, because obviously I'm grateful for what my parents has taught me, that basically, you know, you got to earn what you got to earn. I know that many people may say that while working, that sometimes it's not always you should be doing work, you know, like a slave, to the point that, you know, you're not making enough money and that. But sometimes, you know, this is just how life is at the moment, and we just have to suck it up, as the saying goes, and basically just get on with it no matter what it may be. I hate to say it that way, but that's how I feel right now, because some people have been complaining at me that they don't like working and that, but you gotta just have to hold on, because this is just a life experience, a learning curve for every one of us, basically, on this, just to teach us about responsibility, but us maturing into an adult. And actually, despite it all, that, yeah, okay, many people may think that being an adult is boring, but then again, you know, it's what we make out of life in the old everyday and age. despite what I face in my everyday challenges, yes, they do become overwhelming. You know, be it, you know, like this stage when I was in high school, basically, I had a few friends, even though, yes, I was bullied again. And that many people, despite transitioning from Palmy to where I was in that small town, basically at Pehu, many people may vouch for this, that, you know, I was the new kid in the block. They wanted, obviously, a few guys in that group were testing my boundaries and stuff, regardless, before the dating scene and the ball or whatever formal that came about. Basically, like, I stood up on my own 2 feet, basically. I'm not proud for what I did, but I thought what I did it was right, you know, just to tell them to back off and leave me alone, you know, even though, yes, okay, they pushed me to the point where I had to fight back, even though I'm not the kind of girl that usually does use her fists or anything, but I didn't use my fists as such. I just pretty much tried to use my words at first, but that didn't work with the same guys that kept on constantly bugging me to the point that, you know, thing. And then another one was at that time when I was getting bullied, and that, you know, the second or third time, like, I'm not proud of what I did. I actually grabbed one of them by the scruff of the collar and actually planted him against the locker. You know, listen here, punk. You've got what you deserved the first time. I told you to leave me alone, or else, you know, I didn't mean to make it sound as if it was a threat coming through my mouth at that time. I was just trying to protect my own sake and self, even though there was a guy in school pretty much who was a friend of mine, who probably is still to this day, even though I haven't heard from him for a while, that basically he stood up for me, even though he says that guys shouldn't be picking on girls, you know, be it fist fights, be it, you know, the verbal and mental state of, you know, thing. He doesn't believe in violence himself either, to the point that, you know, guys shouldn't have to, you know, think they're macho, think they're the man, and actually walk about thinking that they can do anything and anything just to, you know, make them feel big. Because at that time, despite it all, I felt at that time, yeah, I may have felt pleased with myself, standing for myself, even though, yeah, okay, I got called into the principal office, who wouldn't, pretty much for a lot of reasons. And then no matter what, that many of the reasons, I just thought, you know, I thought that I was stupid, and I was trying to explain to the principal my, you know, jurisdiction after what I'd been through. And then again, after a few times after being left alone after the bullying stage, that some others were getting bullied, and I thought, that's a bit strange, you know, so what were they doing at that time? Despite it all, like what I've been through, of the challenges I had been facing, some of the things we try to work hard to get where I want to be, or we all want to be. Despite it being overwhelming, I've learned that I need to take baby steps at a time, even though many of times with me, I like to take the big steps, you know, jump in, you know, try to, like they say, take risks 9 times out of 10, even though my parents fear, you know, whenever I take the risk, that what's going to happen. I feel that right now, despite those little steps, it will take me longer to get to my destination. As I said, everyone's journey is different, as well as the destination. The life of ours basically should be enjoyed regardless, even though, yes, we may have some certain circumstances that really will test us, the test of time. Everyone's journey is different, as I said. There's a quote that I pretty much agree from Martin Luther King. If you cannot fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep on moving forward. That's what I'm trying to learn to this day. This rings true pretty much of what I'm living by right now as well. Okay, more of my life story on the high school. Okay, as I said, my life story in high school was a different story. Okay, another story. Some people may say that I was, as it happened in intermediate, I got a good 2 shoes pretty much when I was in school. Some may say think I was a perfectionist to that day, and to this day I still admit sometimes I am a perfectionist, regardless of my, I shouldn't say this out loud, my room right now, fellas, you know, still at a place at the moment of certain things lying around. It's what my parents notice, that sometimes I can be a bit messy, sometimes, depending on my moods anyway, you know, I can be messy or what have you. You know, some people may seem to think that I'm afraid of making mistakes now and then. I'll admit I was that kind of girl that was afraid of making mistakes, but now I've learned that we're not making mistakes, they are our life lessons, and whatever those life lessons are that they're trying to teach us off these mistakes, hopefully, no matter how deep we went through, that it will actually lead to a point where there is no return, pretty much. I felt that in this day and age, in my intermediate high school, I thought I was in control of my life, you know. I was basically trying to grasp on into everything like a security blanket sort of thing, to the point that, you know, even though my world was like different to others, that I felt like it was so overwhelming to the point that I need to run back to that security blanket or somewhere I knew that I was existing. I'll admit that some people were right at the time, besides of making these mistakes, you know, good or bad, that, you know, I felt that pretty much that, you know, making these mistakes at the time, you know, I felt I was becoming a failure to myself and to the parents and also to people around me, you know, despite it all. You know, I want to know that everyone will make mistakes and it's okay to learn from them, you know, to move on and stuff. You know, it's our life lessons and it teaches us pretty much. We are the creators of our journey, however. We are the creators of our life story, so we can know ourselves better than anyone else, sort of thing. So this ends basically part 3 of my intermediate to basically the intermediate to high school level. I think we're up to part 4 is coming up next, based on the high school to tertiary level. Hopefully this will be the last piece of my series of my A's in education. Thanks for watching, guys, basically, and thanks for your support. Don't forget to sub to my channel, basically, so that you can get in the know-how and updates of what I've been up to, or just to get to know me in general of certain life experiences and stories that I'm sharing out based on my book, even though some of the stories here that I'm sharing right now may not be in the book, or shall we say some of the topics, which, you know, it doesn't matter, because hopefully it will just give you an insight how I feel about certain topics that comes about. Also, hopefully, later on in the piece, I'm going to try and create some more topics on my other channel of the Beauty from Ashes, hopefully, which has been on hold for some reason, because obviously I'm trying to push myself to get this one out of the way. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all soon.